The room went quiet. So quiet, you could hear a pin drop. Everyone in the huge, shiny office stared at Ethan Black, their jaws practically hitting the floor. He stood at the front, his tie loose, his dark hair messy. Before we begin the story, comment below where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Looking nothing like the powerful man they thought he was. His eyes were locked on Lila, the shy girl with patched-up shoes and a nervous smile, who was clutching a mop in the corner. Please subscribe to my channel for more sweet videos like this, and let the story continue. "I'm not just an employee," Ethan said, his voice shaking but loud enough for everyone to hear. "I'm Ethan Black, the CEO of Black Enterprises. I've been pretending to be one of you for months." Gasps filled the room. People whispered, their eyes wide. Lila's mop slipped from her hands and clattered to the floor. Her face turned pale, like she'd seen a ghost. Ethan took a step toward her, ignoring everyone else. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might burst. "Lila," he said softly, "I lied to you, but I swear, everything I felt for you was real." Her big brown eyes filled with tears. She shook her head, backing away. You lied to me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "All this time you were him?" Before Ethan could answer, the office doors burst open. A man in a sharp suit stormed in, his face red with anger. "Ethan Black," he shouted. "You think you can play games with my daughter's heart and get away with it?" Ethan froze. Daughter? Lila's father? But Lila had said her dad was gone, lost to her years ago. Who was this man? And why was he calling Lila his daughter? The room spun around Ethan. Lila's tears fell faster now, and she turned to run. Ethan reached for her, but she was already gone, disappearing through the doors. The man in the suit glared at Ethan, his fists clenched. "You've ruined everything," the man growled. "You have no idea what you've done." Ethan stood there, alone, his secret out, his heart breaking, and a million questions racing through his mind. What had he done? And who was Lila? 3 months earlier, Ethan Black was the king of his world. At 32, he owned Black Enterprises, a company that made billions selling tech gadgets everyone loved. His face was on magazine covers, his name whispered in fancy parties. But Ethan wasn't happy. He felt empty, like something was missing. "I'm tired of people kissing up to me because I'm rich," he told his best friend Max one night over pizza in his penthouse. "No one's real. They all want something: money, power, fame." Max, a goofy guy with glasses, shrugged. "Then ditch the suit, man. Go live like a regular guy. See what it's like." Ethan laughed at first, but the idea stuck. What if he did pretend to be someone else? What if he hid his money, his name, and just blended in? The next day, he made a plan. He told his board of directors he was taking a break to work on a secret project. Then he put on jeans, a plain t-shirt, and sneakers. He gave himself a fake name. Ethan Carteran got a job at his own company as a low-level office assistant. No one recognized him. Why would they? The CEO never showed up in the mailroom or cleaned desks after hours. At first, it was fun. Ethan liked being invisible. He carried boxes, sorted papers, and ate cheap sandwiches with the other workers. No one bowed to him or fake smiled. For the first time, he felt free. But then he met Lila. It was his second week on the job. Ethan was in the break room, trying to figure out how to use the ancient coffee machine, when a soft voice spoke behind him. "You have to hit it twice on the side," the voice said. "It's cranky, like my old cat." Ethan turned and saw a hairy girl about 20, with messy brown hair tied in a ponytail and eyes that sparkled like she knew a secret. Her uniform was faded, and her shoes had a hole near the toe, but she smiled like she owned the world. "I'm Lila," she said, sticking out her hand. "You're new, right?" Ethan shook her hand, feeling a weird flutter in his chest. "Yeah, I'm Ethan Carter." Lila laughed, a sound like bells. "You look lost, Ethan Carter. Don't worry, I'll show you the ropes." From that day on, they were friends. Lila worked as a cleaner, mopping floors and emptying trash cans after everyone else went home. She didn't talk much about herself, but Ethan learned bits and pieces. She lived in a tiny apartment with her mom, who was sick. She worked 2 jobs to pay for medicine. She loved drawing little sketches on napkins during breaks, and she had a laugh that made Ethan forget who he was. He didn't tell her the truth. He couldn't. Every time he thought about it, his stomach twisted. What if she treated him differently? What if she stopped smiling at him? So he kept up the lie, pretending to be just another guy struggling to pay rent. But the more time he spent with Lila, the harder it got to hide. She wasn't like anyone he'd ever met. She didn't care about money or status. She cared about people cared. When a coworker lost his wallet, Lila gave him her last $10 for lunch. When Ethan had a bad day, she'd slip him one of her napkin drawings with a silly doodle to cheer him up. One night, after work, they sat on a bench outside the office, sharing a bag of chips under the stars. "Why do you work so hard, Lila?" Ethan asked, watching her carefully. She shrugged, looking at the sky. "My mom needs me, and I want to make the world a little better, you know? Even if it's just cleaning floors or helping someone smile." Ethan's heart ached. He wanted to tell her everything about his money, his company, his lie. But he didn't. Instead, he said, "You're amazing, Lila." She blushed and nudged his shoulder. "You're not so bad yourself, Ethan Carter." Things were going great, too great. Ethan should have known it wouldn't last. One day, while he was sorting mail, he overheard 2 managers talking in the hallway. "Did you hear?" one said. "The CEO's coming back soon, some big announcement." Ethan's stomach dropped. He hadn't planned to return yet. He wasn't ready to give up being Ethan Carter, not when he was so close to Lila. That night, he met Lila for their usual after-work chat, but she was quiet. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying. "What's wrong?" Ethan asked, sitting next to her on the bench. She took a deep breath. "My mom's getting worse. The doctors say she needs surgery, but it was so expensive, I don't know what to do." Ethan's heart broke. He could pay for the surgery in a heartbeat. He had billions. But Ethan Carter, the broke office assistant, didn't. If he offered to help, she'd ask questions. She'd figured out he wasn't who he said he was. "I'm so sorry, Lila," he said, hating himself for the lie. "We'll figure something out, okay?" She nodded, but her smile was gone. For the first time, Ethan saw fear in her eyes, and it killed him. The next day, he made a secret call to his assistant, Claire. "Set up an anonymous donation," he told her, "for a woman named Maria Green. Cover her surgery, all of it. No one can know it's from me." Claire didn't ask questions. She never did. By the end of the week, Lila came to work beaming. "Ethan," she said, grabbing his hands. "Someone paid for my mom's surgery. I don't know who, but it's a miracle." Ethan grinned, relief washing over him. "That's amazing, Lila." She hugged him, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. But then she pulled back, her eyes narrowing. "Wait, how did they even know about my mom? I only told you." Ethan froze. His mouth went dry. Maybe someone overheard us?" Lila frowned, but she didn't push it. Still, Ethan could tell she was suspicious. He had to be more careful. If she found out the truth, everything would fall apart. A week later, Ethan got a strange email. It came from an unknown address, with no name. Just one line. "I know who you are, Ethan Black." His heart stopped. Someone knew. Someone had figured out his secret. But who? And what did they want? He looked up from his computer and saw Lila across the office, laughing with another coworker. She looked so happy, so unaware of the storm coming. Ethan's hands shook as he typed a reply. "Who are you? What do you want?" The response came instantly. "Meet me tonight, rooftop, 9 p.m. Come alone, or Lila pays the price." Ethan's blood ran cold. Someone was threatening Lila, his Lila. He didn't know who they were or how they knew, but one thing was clear. His lie was catching up with him. And if he wasn't careful, it would destroy everything. Ethan's heart pounded as he climbed the stairs to the rooftop. The office building was dark, the only sounds his sneakers squeaking on the metal steps and the faint hum of the city below. His phone buzzed in his pocket, but he ignored it. The mysterious email looped in his mind. Meet me tonight, rooftop, 9 p.m. Come alone, or Lila pays the price. Who could know his secret? And why threaten Lila? Ethan's stomach twisted with guilt. His Lee pretending to be Ethan Carter, a nobody, had been his escape, his chance to feel real. But now it was a trap, and Lila was caught in it. He pushed open the heavy door to the rooftop. Cold air hit his face, carrying the smell of rain. The city sparkled below, a sea of lights, but the roof was empty. No one was there. Ethan scanned the shadows, his breath catching. Was this a trick? Hello? He called, his voice shaky. I'm here. Show yourself. A low chuckle came from behind a vent. Ethan spun around as a figure stepped into the moonlight. It was a mantle, thin, with slicked back hair and a smirk that made Ethan's skin crawl. He wore a dark coat, hands in his pockets, and his eyes glinted with something dangerous. You're punctual, Mr. Black, the man said, his voice smooth like oil. Or should I say, Ethan Carter? Ethan's fists are clenched. Who are you? How do you know me? The man tilted his head, still smirking. Call me Victor. As for how I know you, let's just say I'm good at digging up secrets. And yours is a big one, isn't it? The billionaire CEO playing pretend with the common folk. Ethan took a step forward, anger flaring. What do you want? Leave Lila out of this! Victor raised a hand, calm as ever. Oh, Lila's very much in this. You see, I've been watching you. Both of you. Sweet girl, isn't she? So trusting. So breakable. Ethan lunged, but Victor sidestepped easily, laughing. Careful, Ethan. You don't want to make this worse. I'm not here to hurt anyone. Yet. Then what do you want? Ethan growled, his voice low. Victor's smirk faded, replaced by a cold stare. Money, power, the usual. You're going to give me what I want, or I'll tell everyone who you are. Starting with Lila. Imagine how she'll feel, knowing you've been lying to her face. Ethan's heart sank. He pictured Lila's smile crumbling, her trust in him shattering. How much? He asked quietly. Name your price. Victor laughed again, sharp and cruel. Oh, it's not just money, Ethan. I want a piece of your empire. A seat at the table. You'll make me a partner in Black Enterprises, or I'll ruin you. Ethan stared, his mind racing. A partner? This guy was insane. Black Enterprises was his life's work. But if he said no, Lila would pay the price. He needed time to think, to find a way out. Fine, Ethan said, forcing his voice to stay steady. But I need proof you won't hurt her. Show me you're not bluffing. Victor's eyes narrowed, but he nodded. Smart boy. Check your phone. Ethan pulled out his phone, his hands shaking. A new email waited, from the same unknown address. He opened it and froze. It was a photo of Lila, taken that morning, outside her apartment. She was carrying a bag of groceries, her hair blowing in the wind, completely unaware that someone was watching her. Ethan's blood ran cold. You're following her? Insurance, Victor said with a shrug. Do what I say, and she stays safe. Cross me and, well, you don't want to know. Ethan wanted to punch him, to scream, but he couldn't. Not yet. I'll think about it, he said through gritted teeth. Give me a day. Victor nodded, stepping back into the shadows. One day, Ethan. Don't disappoint me. He vanished, leaving Ethan alone on the roof, the photo of Lila burning in his mind. He had to protect her. But how? Tell her the truth and risk losing her? Or give in to Victor and lose everything else? The next morning, Ethan dragged himself to work, his eyes heavy from no sleep. The office buzzed with its usual chaos, phones ringing, printers humming, people laughing over coffee. But to Ethan, it felt like a dream, like he was underwater. He kept seeing Victor's smirk, Lila's photo, and the threat hanging over them both. Lila was already there, mopping the hallway, humming a tune. She looked up and grinned when she saw him. "Morning, Ethan Carter. You look like you fought a bear and lost." Ethan forced a smile, but it felt wrong, like lying all over again. "Rough night," he mumbled. "You okay?" Her grin faded a little. "Yeah, I guess. Mom's doing better thanks to that mystery donor, but I keep wondering who it was. It's weird, right? Like someone's watching me." Ethan's heart skipped. She was closer to the truth than she knew. "Maybe it's just a good person," he said, hating how weak it sounded. "Someone who wanted to help." Lila tilted her head, studying him. "Maybe. You're acting weird, though. Everything okay?" He wanted to tell her about Victor, about his lie, about everything, but the words stuck in his throat. "Yeah," he lied again. "Just tired." She nodded, but her eyes lingered on him, like she could see through him. "Okay, but if you need to talk, I'm here, always." Her kindness hit him like a punch. He didn't deserve it. Not after lying to her, not with Victor breathing down his neck. He mumbled a thanks and hurried to his desk, his mind spinning. At lunch, Ethan sat alone in the break room, staring at his sandwich. He couldn't eat. His phone buzzed with another email from Victor. "TikTok, Ethan. Time's running out." Attached was another photo of Lila, this time at the bus stop, reading a book. Ethan's hands shook with rage. He had to stop this guy. But how? He couldn't go to the police. What would he say? That he, a billionaire, was being blackmailed for pretending to be poor? They'd laugh him out of the station. And if Victor found out, Lila could get hurt. He needed help. Someone he trusted. Someone who knew his secret. Ethan slipped out of the office and called his best friend. Max picked up on the second ring, his voice cheerful. "Yo, how's the undercover life, Mr. Carter?" "Max, I'm in trouble," Ethan said, keeping his voice low. "Someone knows who I am. They're threatening Lila." Max went quiet, then whistled. "Whoa, okay, slow down. Tell me everything." Ethan spilled it all, the emails. Victor, the photos, the demand for a partnership. When he finished, Max was silent for a long time. "Okay," Max said finally. "This Victor guy sounds bad news, but you can't give him what he wants. Once you let a guy like that in, he'll never stop. We need to find out who he is." "How?" Ethan asked, desperate. "He's like a ghost." "Leave that to me," Max said. "I know a guy who's good with computers. He can trace those emails, maybe find a name. But you gotta be careful, man. Keep Lila close, but don't tell her yet. If she freaks out, it could tip Victor off." Ethan nodded, even though Max couldn't see. "Thanks, Max. I owe you." "You owe me pizza," Max said, trying to lighten the mood. "Stay safe, okay?" Ethan hung up, feeling a tiny bit better. Max was on it, but he still had to face Lila, still had to pretend everything was fine while a blackmailer circled like a shark. That evening, Ethan found Lila in the storage room, stacking boxes. She was humming again, but her shoulders were slumped, like she was carrying more than just cardboard. "Hey," he said softly, leaning against the door. "Need help?" She looked up, surprised, then smiled. "You're gonna get your fancy jeans dirty, Ethan Carter." He laughed, the first real laugh he'd had all day. "Fancy? These are from the thrift store." She raised an eyebrow, teasing. "Sure they are. Come on, grab a box." They worked together, moving boxes, joking about the dusty room and the weird smell of old paper. For a moment, Ethan forgot about Victor, forgot about his lie. It was just him and Lila, like it used to be. When they finished, they sat on the floor, sharing a bottle of water. Lila leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "You ever feel like you're pretending to be someone you're not?" she asked suddenly. Ethan's heart stopped. Did she know? "What do you mean?" he asked, keeping his voice calm. She sighed. "I don't know. Sometimes I act all happy, like everything's fine, but inside I'm scared. Scared for my mom, scared I'm not enough. Like I'm wearing a mask. Ethan swallowed hard. She wasn't talking about him, she was opening up, trusting him, and he was still lying to her. You don't have to pretend with me, he said quietly. I like you just the way you are. She looked at him, her eyes soft. You're sweet, Ethan. I'm glad you're my friend. Friend. The word stung, but it also warmed him. He wanted to be more than her friend, but not like this. Not with secrets between them. I'm glad too, he said, meaning it. They sat there, quiet, the air heavy with unsaid things. Ethan wanted to stay in that moment forever, but his phone buzzed, shattering the spell. He glanced at a text from Max. Found something on Victor. Call me now. Ethan's stomach dropped. The real world was back, and it was closing in fast. Ethan slipped away to call Max, his heart racing. What did you find? He asked as soon as Max picked up. Max's voice was tense, not his usual goofy self. My guy traced the emails. They're coming from inside your company, Ethan, someone who works at Black Enterprises. Ethan's blood ran cold. What? Who? We don't have a name yet, Max said, but there's more. My guy found a file attached to one of the emails, hidden in the code. It's a list of names employees, clients, even Lila's mom. And there's a note. Phase 2 starts soon. Ethan, this isn't just about you. Victor's planning something big. Ethan gripped the phone, his mind spinning. Someone inside his company. Someone he saw every day, maybe even trusted. And they were after Lila, after his empire, after everything. He turned to head back to Lila to make sure she was safe, but then he heard a scream. Lila's scream came from the storage room. Ethan ran, his heart in his throat, praying he wasn't too late. Ethan's sneakers pounded the hallway floor, each step echoing like a drum in his chest. Lila's scream still rang in his ears, sharp and terrified. He skidded around the corner, shoving past a stack of files that toppled behind him. The storage room door was half open, spilling dim light into the hall. He burst inside, his breath ragged, ready to fight whoever was hurting her. Lila! He shouted. She was there, crouched in the corner, her eyes wide with fear. A metal shelf had tipped over, scattering boxes and papers across the floor. A heavy box teetered above her, hanging by a thread on the edge of another shelf. Ethan didn't think he dove forward, grabbing her arm and yanking her out of the way just as the box crashed down, bursting open with a thud. Lila clung to him, trembling. Ethan, she gasped, her voice shaky. It fell. I didn't see it. He held her tight, his heart still racing. Are you okay? Are you hurt? She shook her head, but her eyes were wet with tears. No, I'm fine, just scared. I was moving stuff, and the shelf it wobbled and then… Ethan looked at the mess. Papers were everywhere. The shelf twisted like it had been yanked hard. His gut twisted too. This didn't feel like an accident. Not after Victor's threats. Not with Max's warning about someone inside the company. Had someone rigged the shelf to fall? Was this a warning or worse? We need to get out of here, Ethan said, keeping his voice calm for her sake. Come on. Lila nodded, still shaken, and let him lead her out. In the hallway, she stopped, wiping her eyes. Thanks, Ethan. You saved me. He forced a smile, but his mind was screaming. Saved her? Maybe this time. But if Victor was behind this, how many more accidents were coming? Any time? He said softly. Let's get you some water, okay? She nodded again, and they headed to the break room. Ethan kept glancing over his shoulder, half expecting Victor's smirk in every shadow. Whoever this guy was, he was close, too close. In the break room, Lila sat at the table, sipping water while Ethan stood by the door, pretending to check his phone. He was texting Max. Storage room shelf fell. Nearly hit Lila. Not an accident. Find Victor fast. Max replied instantly. On it. Stay with her. Don't let her out of your sight. Ethan pocketed his phone and looked at Lila. She was calmer now, but her hands still shook a little. "You sure you're okay?" he asked, sitting across from her. "Yeah," she said, giving a small smile. "Just clumsy, I guess. That shelf's been wobbly forever." Ethan's jaw tightened. Wobbly? Or tampered with? He wanted to tell her everything about Victor, the emails, the danger. But her eyes were so trusting, so soft. If he told her he was Ethan Black, not Ethan Carter, would she ever look at him like that again? Instead, he reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "You're not clumsy. You're the toughest person I know." She laughed, a little spark coming back to her face. "Tough? Me? I'm just a girl with a mop." "You're more than that," he said, meaning every word. "You're special, Lila." Her cheeks turned pink, and she looked down, playing with the water bottle cap. "You're weird today, Ethan Carter. Sweet, but weird." He grinned, but it faded fast. Weird didn't cover it. He was lying to her, hiding a secret that could ruin them both. And now, someone was playing games with her life. The next day, Ethan stuck to Lila like glue. He made excuses to work near her carrying boxes, sorting files, anything to keep her in sight. She didn't seem to mind, but she noticed. "You're like my shadow," she teased at lunch, tossing him a chip from her bag. "Someone's got to keep you out of trouble," he shot back, trying to sound normal. Inside, he was a wreck. Max hadn't called yet, and every creak in the office made him jump. That afternoon, while Lila was cleaning the conference room, Ethan slipped away to check the storage room. If the shelf was tampered with, there might be proof. He crouched by the fallen shelf, running his hands along the metal. It was bent, sure, but something caught his eye, a clean cut near the base, like someone had sawed partway through. His blood ran cold. This was Sabotage. He took a quick photo and sent it to Max. "Found this. Someone cut the shelf." Max's reply was grim. "Not good. My guy's close to cracking the email source. Hang tight." Ethan didn't feel like hanging tight. He felt like punching something. Whoever Victor was, he was bold sneaking into the office, messing with shelves, all under Ethan's nose. And if he worked at Black Enterprises, he could be anyone. The grumpy mailroom guy? The chatty receptionist? Ethan's head spun with suspects. Back in the office, he found Lila laughing with Sarah, another cleaner. Sarah was older, with gray streaks in her hair and a loud laugh. She patted Lila's shoulder, saying, "You keep this one out of trouble, Ethan." Lila grinned at him, and for a second, Ethan forgot the danger. But only for a second. His phone buzzed a new email from the unknown address. His stomach dropped as he opened it. "That was a nice save last night, but you can't protect her forever. Meet me tomorrow, 8 p.m., old warehouse on 5th Street. Bring the partnership papers. No tricks, or she won't be so lucky next time." Attached was another photo, Lila in the conference room, wiping a table taken just minutes ago. Ethan's hands shook. Victor was here, right now, watching them. That night, Ethan couldn't face going home to his fake apartment, where he pretended to be Ethan Carter. He needed air, needed to think. He wandered the city streets, ending up at the park, where he and Lila sometimes ate lunch. The bench was empty, the stars bright above. He sat, burying his face in his hands. What was he doing? He'd started this lie to feel real, to escape the fake smiles of his rich world, but now he was trapped, and Lila was in danger because of him. He pictured her laugh, her napkin sketches, the way she'd hugged him after her mom's surgery was paid for. He'd done that for her anonymously, sure, but it was real. His feelings were real. "I'm falling for her," he whispered to the empty park. The words felt heavy, true, terrifying. He couldn't lose her. Not to Victor, not to his lie. His phone rang, snapping him out of it. It was Lila. He answered, his voice rough. "Hey, you okay?" "Ethan." Her voice was small, worried. "You didn't say goodbye today." I got scared. After the shelf thing, I thought maybe you were mad at me. His heart ached. Mad at her? Never. I'm not mad, he said softly. I just had to clear my head. I'm sorry I worried you. Where are you? She asked. Can I come find you? He hesitated. Victor could be watching, but the idea of seeing her, even for a minute, was too much to resist. I'm at our bench, he said. In the park. Stay there, she said and hung up. 20 minutes later, she jogged up, her scarf flapping, her cheeks red from the cold. She sat next to him, close enough that their shoulders touched. You scared me, she said, nudging him. No disappearing, okay? Okay, he said, smiling despite everything. No disappearing. They sat in silence, watching the stars. Lila leaned her head on his shoulder, and Ethan's heart raced. You're my best friend, Ethan, she said quietly. I don't know what I'd do without you. He swallowed hard, guilt and love twisting inside him. You'll never have to find out, he promised, even as Victor's threat echoed in his mind. The next day, Ethan went to work with a plan. He couldn't meet Victor empty-handed, but he wasn't signing over his company either. He asked Claire, his assistant, to draft fake partnership papers good enough to fool Victor until Max found answers. Claire didn't ask why, just said, Be careful, sir. All day, Ethan watched Lila, memorizing her smile, her laugh, in case it was the last time. She noticed, of course. You're staring, she teased, tossing a crumpled napkin at him during break. Can't help it, he said, half joking, half serious. You're kinda great. She blushed, but before she could reply, Sarah burst into the break room, her face pale. Ethan, Lila, come quick, there's a guy outside, yelling about you. Ethan's blood froze. He followed Sarah, Lila close behind, to the office windows. Outside, a man stood on the sidewalk, waving a sign. Ethan couldn't read it from here, but the man's voice carried. Ethan Carter's a liar. Ask him who he is. Lila frowned, confused. Ethan, what's he talking about? Ethan's mouth went dry. The man wasn't Victor too short, too frantic, but he knew something, and he was shouting it for the whole world to hear. Before Ethan could answer, his phone buzzed. Another email from Victor. Told you I'm watching. Cancel tonight's meeting, or this guy tells Lila everything. Ethan stared at the crowd gathering outside, at Lila's worried face, at the man with the sign. His secret was unraveling, and he was out of time. Ethan's heart hammered as he stared out the office window. The man on the sidewalk waved his sign like a flag, his voice hoarse but relentless. Ethan Carter's a liar. Ask him who he is. A small crowd had gathered, office workers, delivery guys, even a few passers-by snapping photos with their phones. Ethan's throat tightened. This wasn't just a random guy. This was Victor's doing a warning shot to keep him in line. Lila stood beside him, her brow furrowed. Ethan, what's going on? Why's he saying that about you? Her voice was soft, confused, but it cut through Ethan like a knife. He wanted to grab her hand, pull her away, tell her everything. But the email from Victor burned in his mind. Cancel tonight's meeting, or this guy tells Lila everything. If he didn't play along, this stranger might spill his secret right now, in front of her, in front of everyone. I don't know, Ethan stammered, hating the lie. Maybe he's got me mixed up with someone else. Lila's eyes searched his face, like she was trying to read a book with missing pages. He knows your name, Ethan. That's weird, right? Yeah, Ethan said, forcing a laugh that sounded fake even to him. Super weird. Probably just a nutcase. Sarah, the older cleaner, snorted from behind them. Nutcase or not, he's making a scene. Someone should call security. I'll handle it, Ethan said quickly, before anyone else could move. He needed to get down there, shut this guy up, and figure out what Victor had on him. Stay here, Lila. I'll be right back. Her hand grabbed his arm, stopping him. Be careful, okay? He looks angry. Ethan nodded, his chest aching at her worry. I will, promise. He jogged to the elevator, his mind racing. Victor had canceled the warehouse meeting, but this stunt was no coincidence. It was a power play, a way to show Ethan he was trapped. The elevator dinged, and Ethan stepped out into the lobby, where security guards were already muttering about the guy outside. Ethan waved them off. "I got this," and pushed through the glass doors. The cold air hit him, along with the man shouting. Up close, Ethan saw he was older, maybe 50, with wild gray hair and a frayed jacket. His sign was sloppy, the words scrawled in red marker. Ethan Carter, fraud. The man's eyes locked on Ethan, and his shouting stopped, replaced by a crooked grin. "You," the man said, pointing. "Took you long enough." "Who are you?" Ethan demanded, keeping his voice low so the crowd wouldn't hear. "What do you want?" The man laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "Want? I want the truth out, kid. You're not who you say you are, and I'm not the only one who knows." Ethan's stomach dropped. "You're working for Victor, aren't you? What's he paying you?" The man's grin faded, replaced by a flicker of fear. "Victor! Don't know no Victor. I got my reasons." He leaned closer, his breath sour. "You think you can hide forever, rich boy?" Ethan froze. Rich boy. This guy knew he was Ethan Black. But if he wasn't Victor's pawn, then who was he? Before Ethan could ask, a security guard pushed through the crowd, grabbing the man's arm. "All right, buddy, time to go," the guard said. "You're disturbing the peace." The man yanked free, waving his sign. "I'm not done. He's lying to you all. Ask him about Black Enterprises." Ethan's blood ran cold. The crowd murmured, phones recording every word. He had to stop this now. "He's confused," Ethan said loudly, forcing a smile. "Wrong guy, wrong place. Let's all calm down." The guard dragged the man away, still shouting, but the damage was done. People were whispering, staring at Ethan like he was a puzzle they couldn't solve. He turned to head back inside and saw Lila standing in the doorway, her face pale. "Ethan," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "What did he mean? Black Enterprises?" Ethan's mind scrambled for an answer. Lila's eyes were wide, searching, and he knew one wrong word could unravel everything. He forced himself to laugh, though it sounded hollow. "He's just some crazy guy, Lila. Probably heard my name somewhere and made up a story. Black Enterprises? I mean, come on, me." She didn't laugh. She stepped closer, her arms crossed. He sounded sure. "And you've been acting off, like you're hiding something." Ethan's heart pounded. He wanted to tell her, "I'm Ethan Black. I own this company. I've been lying to you since we met." But Victor's threat loomed, and that man's words echoed. "I'm not the only one who knows. If he told Lila now, would it protect her or put her in more danger?" "I'm not hiding anything," he said, softer this time. "I'm just Ethan Carter. Boring office guy, remember?" She studied him for a long moment, then sighed. "Okay. But if something's wrong, you'd tell me, right?" "Of course," he lied, his stomach twisting. "Always." She nodded, but the doubt in her eyes lingered. They went back inside, and Ethan spent the rest of the day on edge, jumping at every loud noise. The man with the sign was gone. Security had called the cops, who'd taken him away, but his words stuck like glue. And Victor's silence was worse. No new emails, no threats. Just a quiet that felt like the calm before a storm. That night, Ethan met Max at a diner across town, far from the office. Max slid into the booth, his usual grin replaced by a grim frown. "You look like garbage," he said, tossing a fry at Ethan. "Thanks," Ethan muttered, pushing the fry away. "What'd you find?" Max leaned in, lowering his voice. "My computer guy's a genius. He traced Victor's emails to a server inside Black Enterprises, like I said. But here's the kicker, it's not just some random employee. The IP address links to the executive floor." Ethan's fork froze halfway to his mouth. "The executive floor? You're saying Victor's one of my board members?" "Or someone close to them," Max said. "Could be an assistant, a secretary, anyone with access. But it's high up, Ethan. Someone who knows your schedule, your habits. And get this, my guy found another file in the email code. It's encrypted, but he thinks it's a plan. Something about taking over and phase 2. Sound familiar? Ethan nodded, his mind flashing to Victor's note. Phase 2 starts soon. The guy with the sign today, he knew who I was. Called me Rich Boy, but he said he wasn't working for Victor. Max frowned, chewing a fry. Weird. Maybe he's a loose cannon, someone with a grudge. You fire anyone lately? Ethan shook his head. Not that I know of. I've been Ethan Carter for months. Claire's handling the big stuff. Then we need to dig into your board, Max said. Someone's playing dirty, and they're using Lila to get to you. You gotta tell her, man, before it blows up in your face. Ethan's chest tightened. I can't. Not yet. If she knows, she might confront whoever's doing this. And Victor said, Screw Victor, Max snapped. You're letting him control you. Lila's tough. She can handle the truth. Ethan stared at his untouched burger, Max's words hitting hard. Lila was tough, but she was also kind, trusting, and already carrying so much her mom's illness, her bills, her dreams. Could she handle his lie, or would it break her? I'll tell her soon, Ethan said finally. Just give me a little more time. Max sighed but didn't argue. Fine, but time's running out. My guy's working on cracking that file. I'll call you when we've got something solid. Ethan nodded, but as Max left, he felt more alone than ever. He was juggling too many secrets, and the weight was crushing him. The next morning, Ethan found Lila in the break room, sketching on a napkin. She looked up, her smile hesitant but real. Hey, stranger, she said. You disappeared again last night. Sorry, Ethan said, sitting across from her. Had to deal with some stuff. She slid the napkin toward him. It was a drawing of 2 stick figures on a bench, stars above them. That's us, she said, blushing. From the park. I liked that night. Ethan's heart swelled, guilt and love crashing together. He touched the napkin, tracing the lines she'd drawn. Me too, he said softly. Lila, you're the best thing in my life right now. Her eyes widened, and for a moment neither of them spoke. Then she reached across the table, her fingers brushing his. You're pretty great too, Ethan Carter, she whispered. He wanted to freeze time, to stay in this moment where she didn't know his lie, where Victor didn't exist. But reality was a bully, and it wouldn't let him hide. Thanks for the drawing, he said, tucking it into his pocket. I'm keeping this forever. She laughed, and the sound was like sunlight. You better. I don't draw for just anyone. They spent the rest of the break talking about her mom's recovery, her dream to go to art school, his fake stories about growing up normal. Every word felt like a gift, but also a knife. He was stealing time with her, knowing it could end any second. That afternoon, Ethan was sorting mail when Sarah rushed up, her face flushed. Ethan, you gotta come quick. Lila's in trouble. His heart stopped. What? Where is she? Loading dock, Sarah said, breathless. Some guy grabbed her. I heard her yell, but I couldn't see who it was. Ethan didn't wait for more. He sprinted to the back of the building, shoving past crates and workers. The loading dock was a maze of boxes and trucks, the air thick with diesel fumes. He scanned the area, panic clawing at him. Lila! He shouted. A muffled cry came from behind a stack of pallets. Ethan ran toward it, his pulse roaring in his ears. He rounded the corner and froze. Lila was there, her back against a wall, a man looming over her. He wasn't Victor, not tall enough, not slick. But he held a phone, showing her something that made her face go white. Get away from her, Ethan yelled, charging forward. The man turned, startled, and bolted, disappearing between the trucks. Ethan reached Lila, grabbing her shoulders. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? She was shaking, her eyes wide with fear. He showed me a picture, she whispered. Of you. It said you're not Ethan Carter, that you're someone else. Ethan's world tilted. The truth was closing in, and he couldn't stop it. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Lila's words hung in the air like a storm cloud about to burst. He showed me a picture, she repeated, her voice trembling. It said you're not Ethan Carter, that you're someone else. Ethan's mind raced, grasping for a way out, but the fear in Lila's eyes pinned him in place. The loading dock was quiet now, the man who'd cornered her gone, but his damage lingered. Ethan could still hear the echo of her scream, could still see the stranger's phone flashing something that shook her to her core. His secretist Lee was slipping through his fingers, and he wasn't ready. Lila, he said, keeping his voice steady despite the panic clawing at him. What did he show you? Tell me exactly. She hugged herself, her patched-up jacket crinkling. It was a photo of you, but different. You were in a fancy suit, standing in front of a big building. There was text on it, like a headline. It said, Ethan Black, CEO of Black Enterprises. And the guy, he said, you've been lying to everyone, to me. Ethan's stomach dropped like he'd fallen off a cliff. Someone had connected the dots, and they were using it to tear him apart. Victor? The man with the sign? Someone else entirely? He didn't know, and that scared him more than anything. Lila, listen, he started, reaching for her, but she stepped back, her eyes wide with doubt. Is it true? She asked, her voice small but sharp. Are you him? Ethan Black? The question hit like a punch. Ethan opened his mouth, ready to deny it, to spin another lie to keep her close. But her face hurt, confused. Pleading for the truth stopped him. He'd lied to her for months, pretending to be someone he wasn't. Every smile, every laugh, every napkin sketch she'd given him was built on that lie. And now it was breaking her. He swallowed, his throat dry. I can explain. Her eyes filled with tears. So it's true? You're not Ethan Carter? Ethan's heart cracked. He wanted to say no, to pull her into a hug and make this go away. But he couldn't, not anymore. I'm Ethan Black, he said quietly, the words heavy like stones. I'm the CEO. I've been pretending to be someone else. To see what it's like, to be normal. Lila stared at him, her tears spilling over. Normal? She whispered. You think this is normal? Lying to me? Making me think you're my friend? I am your friend, Ethan said, stepping closer, desperate. Everything I felt, everything we talked about, it was real, Lila, I swear. She shook her head, backing away again. How can I believe you? You've been pretending this whole time. Was I just, a game to you? Some poor girl you could laugh at? No, Ethan's voice broke. You're not a game. You're everything to me. But Lila was already turning, her shoulders shaking as she ran toward the exit. Ethan called after her, but she didn't stop. The loading dock door slammed shut behind her, leaving him alone with the echo of his confession and the weight of her hurt. Ethan stood there, staring at the door, his chest tight. He'd lost her. Not to Victor, not to danger, but to his stupidity. He should have told her weeks ago, should have trusted her with the truth. Now she was gone, and he didn't know if she'd ever come back. His phone buzzed, snapping him out of his daze. He yanked it out, half hoping it was Lila, but it was an email from Victor. Good choice, keeping your mouth shut. Too bad someone else didn't. You're running out of moves, Ethan. Check the news. Ethan's blood ran cold. The news? He opened his phone's browser, his fingers clumsy. A headline screamed at him from a local site. Mystery man claims Black Enterprises CEO living double life. Below it was a blurry photo of Ethan Tucken today, outside the office, facing the man with the sign. The article was short and full of speculation, but it mentioned Ethan Carter and Ethan Black in the same breath, hinting at a scandal. Ethan's knees buckled. He leaned against a crate, his head spinning. The man with the sign hadn't been working for Victor, he'd said so himself. But now Victor was using him, fanning the flames to trap Ethan further, and Lila, she'd seen the truth from a stranger's phone, not from him. That hurt worst of all. He called Max, his voice shaking. Max, it's bad. Lila knows. Someone showed her a picture, and now it's on the news. Victor's behind it. I know it. Max, you're screwed. Max's voice was grim. Okay, slow down. Lila knows you're Ethan Black? Yeah, Ethan said, rubbing his face. She's gone, Max. She ran off, and the news they're saying I'm living a double life. Max whistled. Man, this is a mess. My guy's still working on that encrypted file from Victor's emails, but he's close. We'll find this guy. Where are you now? Loading dock, Ethan said. I'm heading to Lila's place. I have to fix this. Bad idea, Max said. If Victor's watching her, you'll lead him right to her. Ethan clenched his jaw. I don't care. I can't let her think I was playing her. Max sighed. Fine, but be careful. I'll call when I've got something. Ethan hung up and ran for his Cara beat-up sedan he'd bought to keep up his Ethan Carter act. He had to find Lila, even if it meant walking into Victor's trap. Lila's apartment was across town, in a rundown building with cracked windows and graffiti on the walls. Ethan parked a block away, scanning the street for anyone watching. The air was cold, the sky gray like it might rain. He climbed the stairs to her third-floor unit, his heart pounding, and knocked. Lila, it's me. Please, let me explain. No answer. He knocked again, louder. Lila, I'm sorry. I messed up, but I need to know you're okay. Still, nothing. Ethan pressed his ear to the door, listening for movement, but the apartment was silent. Panic crept in. What if Victor had gotten to her? What if she wasn't here or worse? He tried the knob. Locked. He could break in, but that'd scare her more. Instead, he pulled out his phone and called her. Straight to voicemail. Lila, it's Ethan. I'm at your place. I'm not leaving until we talk. I care about you. More than you know. Please, call me. He hung up, his chest aching. He slid down the wall, sitting on the grimy hallway floor, and waited. Minutes turned to hours. The sky darkened, and rain started to fall, pattering on the windows. Ethan didn't move. He'd wait all night if he had to. Around midnight, a figure appeared at the end of the Hallen, older woman, with gray hair and a tired face, carrying a grocery bag. Ethan recognized her from a photo Lila had shown him. Her mom, Maria. You're Ethan, Maria said, her voice sharp but not unkind. Lila's friend. Ethan stood, his clothes damp from the rain. Yeah. Is she okay? I need to see her. Maria studied him, her eyes narrowing. She's not here. She called me, crying, and said you lied to her. Broke her heart. Ethan's throat tightened. I didn't mean to, I swear. I love her. Maria's expression softened, just a fraction. Love's a big word, boy. You don't throw it around unless you mean it. I do, Ethan said, his voice raw. I'll do anything to make this right. She sighed, setting her bag down. Lila's at her cousin's place, across town. She needs time, but she's safe. Though you're in trouble. I heard about that news story. People are asking questions. Ethan nodded, relief mixed with dread. Lila was safe, for now. But his secret was spreading, and Victor was still out there. Thank you, he said. Can you tell her I'm sorry? And that I'll wait for her as long as it takes? Maria gave a small nod. I'll tell her. But you better clean up your mess, Ethan, for her sake. She went inside, and Ethan headed back to his car, soaked but determined. He had a lead. Lila was safe. Now, he had to stop Victor before his mess got any bigger. Back at his fake apartment, Ethan's phone buzzed with a call from Max. He answered, hope flaring. Tell me you've got something. We cracked the file, Max said, his voice tight. It's a blueprint, Ethan. Victor's planning to hack Black Enterprises, your whole system. He wants to crash the company, sell the pieces, and disappear. And he's got help. Someone on your board's been feeding him info. Ethan's blood ran cold. Who? We don't know yet, Max said. But there's more. The file mentions Lila. They're not just threatening her to control you. They're planning to use her to frame her for the hack. Make it look like she's the thief. Ethan's vision blurred with rage. They're not touching her, he growled. Find that board member, Max. I'm ending this. He hung up, grabbing his keys, but as he opened his door, a shadow moved in the hollow man in a dark coat, his face hidden. Before Ethan could react, something hard slammed into his head, and the world went black.